Okay, come and stand in the middle of the mat. Feet hip width apart. Soften the knees, tuck the pelvis under. Think about growing tall through the spine. Crown of head shining to ceiling. Find some length at the back of the neck. So those tips, the little earlobes sitting over your shoulders. Find pelvic floor. Take 100%. Pulling in, but try not to hold the breath. And then find transverse abdominis. We tend to hollow that one down to the hips. So drawing in, and you might find that you tuck the pelvis under as you do that as well. So pulling in, we'll hold for 5 seconds, and then take a slow release. So, and let's go in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then a slow release. And then again, pulling in. And breathe. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and a slow release. And last time, drawing in and breathe. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and a slow release. Take it down to 50%. So it's not taking on a concentration. Gonna go for some tapping. So I'm gonna start with the legs. So just, you can use all of your hands here, not just fingertips. So just starting to get a little bit of blood, a little bit of warmth through the legs. So I'm working here on quads, around the sides, hamstrings, going right down to the calf muscles. Coming up, kind of around the mid torso, up to the chest. You can go to the shoulders. I just crossed my arms. It's a bit easier if you cross your arms. And then maybe your bum. Okay, so go to a bit of a jazz walk. So again, just going through a little bit more warming up. So warming up with the feet. So jazz walk, we're going up towards the toes, back to the heels, just walking on the spot, a little bit more exaggerated. And then we're going to jazz walk, drawing in the core with that 50%, and then do some work with our shoulders. So shoulders up to ears, like a shoulder shrug, and then shoulders down. Shoulders up, and shoulders down. Shoulders up, bit of a squeeze, and shoulders down. 2 more, shoulders up, and shoulders down. And shoulders up, and shoulders down. Shoulders forwards, shoulders back, shoulders forwards, shoulders back. You can also look down, chin to chest, look up, keep it going, shoulders forwards, shoulders back. 2 more, shoulders forwards, and then shoulders back. Side bends then, but just come to the side of your mat because we're going to do a little side shuffle with this side bend. So reach one hand down towards the side of the knee, reaching up into the side bend. Breathing in, so just take a breath there, try and get some space from the hip all the way across the rib cage. And then just see if you can walk this sideways. So just walk into that side bend. Keep really pressing down through the heel on that outside side. Then again, take a breath. Breathing in. Breathing out and then release, and then go to the other side. So find your side bend. Check that you're not leaning back in here. Pulling in the core with this as well. And then just walking it back really slowly. Then again, take a breath. Really try and find some length from the hips, around that rib cage. And then release. Okay, gonna go to some squats. If you want, you can put your bands in, your glute bands, and you can put them just above the knee. You can also grab your weights. So put a bit of tension into the band so that you're working kind of glute meads down the sides. So it's going to be go to the squat, so hips back into space, and then circle the arms down and around, lifting up. So you've got your squat, and then circle. There's a front raise as you do your squat. Breathing in as you lift, breathing out as you come down. Putting in a little bit of work into that tension if you've got the bands in. Check the knees don't pronate in, check the arches don't drop underneath the feet. 3 more. So then we're going to go without the bands. Take a balance beam with your feet, so just putting one foot in front of the other basically. So it's a bit of balance. So it's just like that really. And then you might find you're already kind of moving around just to stay in that position. So maybe work with shoulders, maybe there's a kind of a pivot there where you're trying to work it out. Then shoulders down and back, tuck your pelvis under and do the scapular set. So taking weights or thumbs back into space. Get that kind of stretch there on the backs of the shoulders. And maybe keep feeling into where you need to adjust with the feet a little bit. Then we're going to swap the feet over. So take the balance beam on the other side. And again, you might need to just kind of like work the adjustments. Get the feet, get the feet ready. Shoulders down and back. Again, the go with the scapular set. Find that 50% core, so find the pelvic floor, find TBA. And perhaps you might find the big toe there, kind of helping with your balance. Two more. Then go for the really wide squat, the sumo squat. So bending in the knees, so that you can allow the feet to turn out slightly, perhaps a little, if you're a bit tight in the hips, a little side to side. Then taking the weights, and you're going to do your big circles, drawing big moons. It's a beaver moon. Tonight, for a few days actually, I think. So it's a really bright, up here it's a really bright full moon. Called the beaver moon. All about unconscious, hidden parts of the psyche. whatever you make of that one. Other way around. But also the idea of beavers getting ready for the winter, hibernating. 2 more. Staying strong in the core. Breathing in left, breathing out lower. Then just gently put the weights down to the side and just take those seaweed arms. So kind of just arms relaxed, chin goes down to chest, bend one knee and then sway to the side just like you've got water, the waves washing over you. Perhaps working with nice long exhales. Just exploring the stretch at the backs of the legs, and then we're going to go for a wide angle forward fold. So hold your stretch, maybe resting your hands on your shins, and then just see if you can find a table position with your back. So kind of send your hips back into space, your chest forward, try and get your crown of head in line with your spine, and just really find the stretch there on the backs of the legs. A couple of deep breaths. Really breathing into the length on the spine. Then bring chin down into chest. See if you can take fingertips to the floor. And just taking a really slow uncurl, coming back up to standing position. A little bit of balance. But just to put into our closed eyes balance today, just interlink your fingers. So your palms are together. And just take a figure of 8 for the wrists. So you're just drawing like a figure of 8. So just kind of working a little bit with the joints. So then your option, if you like tree, you could put in your tree balance, or you could just take your balance. You could take a high knee. So see if you can keep going with the figure of 8 and close your eyes. I mean, that's super hard. If it's too much, then try maybe just stop the figure of 8. Try closing your eyes, count to 5. So once you've done the closed eyes bits, just shaking out the hands. 8 heel lifts, so you're still balancing on that leg, just rolling towards the ball of the foot, towards the big toes. You're pulling in the core, you're squeezing in the glutes, shoulders relaxed. So just kind of work with strengthening ankles, working with those chains of muscles working, feet to glutes to core. Then we're going to swap sides. So again, finding what your preferred balance position is, and then interlink the fingers again. Go with your figure of 8s. I got a few clicks in there. Don't know if anyone else gets any clicks there in the fingers. Then just see if you can try and close your eyes. Count to 5. Try not to hold the breath with this. Press anchor yourself through your big toe, your pelvic floor. Then again with the little shakes. Then your 8 heel lifts, strengthening the feet. Check that you're going through the ball of the foot towards the big toe. You've got the glute activating, engaging with the pelvic floor. So before we go down onto the mat then, a single leg exercise of your choice. So if you like doing your single leg dips on the stairs, go and find some stairs. You've got lunges, you've got deadlifts, single leg deadlifts. You've got the chair exercise I did with you last week, and you could put the little quad sets on that if you want. In fact, I might do that one. You could do standing single leg squats. So go and choose an exercise and do two sets of 10 if they're quite quick. Probably the stair exercises are quite quick, and the single leg dips on stairs. Lunges are quite quick. They're a bit slower, like the chair one takes a bit longer, perhaps one set of 10 on each leg. So the chair one we did last week was extend, so this is a bit of quad work. And then on that third one, lifting up and then lowering it again. This is kind of quad, but also kind of working with the knee as well. So on any of these exercises, you're thinking about firing up the glutes, sending the hips forwards and up as you lift. Think about what's happening with the feet and the arches underneath the feet, staying nice and strong. The knees not pronating. Especially lunges there, just be aware that you're not kind of crumbling in the lunge. So just stay nice and strong, engage the core. Send the hips forwards and up at the end of the lunge. Think about the back knee, it's not kind of wobbling and pronating in. Once you've done your sets, I'm going to wait for you guys to come back in on the screens, but we're going to meet in a downward dog, so when you're back, that's the meeting position, downward dogs. I can see somebody coming in. So, yeah, when you're ready, downward dog, or if you prefer, puppy dogs. So think about sending the hips up to the ceiling, the chest towards the thighs. If you're feeling a little bit tight, go back to your jazz walk that we did when we were doing shoulder work. You could walk your dog, so you can walk your dog to the front of the mat. So if that helps, create that nice shape we're trying to find, that upside down V shape, and then you can walk it back. Finding that stretch on the calf muscles, the hamstrings. Try and get the arms wrapped around the ears. Thinking about that really long spine. Nice straight line from the hands all the way up towards the hips. One more deep breath here in downward dog. Then bring it down onto all fours. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. And just take 3 deep breaths. And when you do this, just think about expanding the rib cage. And then release. Find that neutral spine, so pulling in the core, try not to arch the lower back. And just checking, we're just pausing here, just to check that we're breathing in deeply, expanding the rib cage. Bit of hip work next then, so just stick with one side, and it's knee, kind of shifting slightly to the side, it's knee towards elbow, and then extend. So we're almost on a bit of an angle here, we're not having, the hips aren't dead facing the mat, they're kind of on a bit of an angle. Just a bit of hip mobility work. Breathe out into the extension, and depending on your flexibility, you could work your leg higher, if that's something that you want to work with on kind of length all through there. Or perhaps go slowly into length. 2 more, so we're aiming for about 8 of these on each side. So then we'll go to the other side. So again, just get that little bit of a tilt, so your hips slightly facing to the side wall. Then knee towards elbow, doesn't have to touch, and then into that extension. Breathe out into the extension. Crown ahead, just in line with the spine, looking. It's tempting to look back at your leg, but try and feel the activity, try not to look back. Eye gaze to the front of the mat. 2 more. Then go back to the other side. Step forwards. We're going to just put in actually a crescent lunge, which is where you do allow kind of the hips to sink quite a bit. You really work with the hip flexor stretch. Now, if you want to put in a little bit of a lift on the chest, shoulders down and back, but this does put an arch in the lower back, so it's up to you whether you want to work with that. Interlink the fingers behind, take a shoulder squeeze and look up. And that's what we call a crescent moon. If that feels a little bit too intense for you, you could always just do what we did last week, which is put the little bit of a twist in there, because it's a bit more supported. See how you feel? Crescent moon obviously gets you that lovely stretch on the chest. Drawing in the core with that as well. Find the pelvic floor. Breathing in, expand the rib cage. We'll swap sides and we'll do the same options. Check your hip width. Your hips are facing forwards. Allow your hips to sink down. Take a moment to find the stretch in the hip flexor. Then your options, if you want to put in crescent moon. If you want a different bind, so I'll just show you, I'll just turn around. There is another one you can go for, which is palms together. If that helps to see. Quite a tricky one. You might notice. Up to you if you want to try a different bind for the crescent moon. And again, you look up, you open around the chest, engage pelvic floor. 3 deep breaths, expand rib cage. Finding some length in the stride. From there, then we're going to come down on our fronts, Sphinx positions. Take a moment, elbows underneath your shoulders, palms down. Lift the kneecaps up just to get this length through the spine, and then just ease them down and just go with the toes right down to the end of the mat. So we're really thinking about length. Then lift up the heart, eye gaze forward, shoulders down. If you want more here, so we're just going to take a couple of breaths here. Put in your cobras. Breathing in left, send the hips down, and then breathing out lower. Again, thinking about that length through the spine, all the way to the crown of the head. Last couple of weeks I've been putting a little spin in here if you want to do that. So you go down into Sphinx, you roll all the way around into staff pose. You bring it down into Sphinx. You can put your cobras in, then down. I've got a wall in the way. You need a bit of space, don't you? And then you can lift back up. So just some little options that we've been playing with this month. Whichever option you're working with, last breath. And then we'll go on. Bring your head down, just rest your head on your hands. And this is glute activation work now. So squeezing in the glute, then lengthen through the hamstring. The other side of the lower back will stabilize and then lower. So just lifting the leg and lower. Doesn't have to lift very high to get all these muscles to work. Breathing out into the left, breathing in lower. Maybe pointing toes if you can. If you don't get foot cramp, it's quite nice if you can kind of offer the soles of your foot up towards the ceiling. A little bit more if you want it. Opposite arm, so you stretch out your arms. Opposite arm lifts as you do the opposite leg lift. So it's almost like you're a Christmas cracker and you're just getting pulled. Your hands reaching forwards and your legs reaching backwards. So just finding a little bit of opposition there, right through the body. 2 more. Quad stretch then. So if you've been quite active today, you might want a passive one where you just hold on to your ankle. You really focus on releasing the quad, sending the hips down. If you've been more sedentary and you want an active stretch, lift yourself up a little bit higher so you're resting on your elbow. Then you're pressing your fingertips into your foot and your foot into your fingertips. And you'll feel the quad kind of activating, working. And you're sending the hips down again. So a bit of a choice there. 3 deep breaths. Then swap sides, and again, you've got the passive or the active one. On the passive, you're just going to think about exhaling, letting go of any resistance. Then tilted bow, or I'll give you another little option, double leg kick. So both legs can come up and then lower down, but try not to arch in the lower back and stay super still in the core. Send the hips down towards the mat. So that's your double leg kick. You can also double leg kick, and then if you want to put in a twist, work for the lower back, just drop the feet to the side. Tilted bow, holding onto both the heels. Breathing in left and then breathing out. Roll that over to the side. So into your left. Take shoulders back, lift chest, even lift the knees off the mat as well. And then see if you can spin it over, give you a bit of space. Over to the side. Try and keep lots of control. I know you're kind of working with momentum But see if you can work with some control there. Whichever version you're doing, just one more. And then going to swan dive, but slightly different. We're going to go to T shape. So just imagine now like a bird of prey with a really big wingspan. And then we're just going to lift up one side. So we're kind of tilting, flying around a corner, and then center. Then over to the other side. And then center. And then see if you can reach the hands together in front of you, and then come back down to start that again. So sweeping up one wing and then lowering to the other side, and you can look to the side that you're sweeping up just to work with the neck as well, and then into that reach forwards, the extension. Just two more, working into the wings. Breathe out into that extension. Last time. Then we're going to release in a cat stretch. So if we can all meet up in a cat, up on all fours, chin to chest, tuck the pelvis under. Find some space between the shoulder blades. And then just pick one hand up and then pick the other hand up. So just to kind of explore a little tilt side to side. I've seen my cat doing this. I don't know if this is kind of where it came to me. He just sometimes lifts his paw up. Yeah, I don't know why he does it. So try and keep your head down, chin to chest. Just gentle little stretches in the shoulders. Bring it down into neutral wrist stretch, so take one at a time, fingers towards the knees, gently press through. Try and keep the same amount of weight through each arm, each hand. And then swap that over. So we're going to go front plank. So bring your elbows underneath your shoulders. We'll go about 30 seconds. Option 1, knees down. And then just see if you can take a little quad set. So straighten one leg and then knee down. Straighten one leg and then knee down. Think about keeping the hips really still so they don't tilt side to side. And shoulders down away from ears. If you want more, full plank and then just put a knee drop in. About 30 seconds. Actually, we'll go 10 drops or 10 straightens. So if you just count through them. Take your time. Almost breathing out for each different knee drop that you do. So I've got 4 more. Try and keep the crown of head in line with the spine. Then we're going to go low plank to high plank, so shoulder strength. So you could either go with your knees down, pushing up, and then bring it down. Any shoulder issues, you could maybe go to press up against a wall if this is too intense, if this is too much. Other options, legs straight, lower it down, lift it up. So if you can do again 10 of these. They are difficult. Try not to end in a downward dog as you go up into high plank. So keep an eye on what's happening with the hip lift. The hips might tilt side to side, that spine, that's going to engage with the obliques. Try not to hold the breath. Remember to push up through the other side as well. Keep it going, last few now. There's always a little bit more. You can always do more. I believe in you. Okay, we'll all meet child's pose. Sitting back towards the heels, perhaps a little sway side to side with the hips. If child's pose doesn't suit your knees, you could go puppy dogs. Knees underneath the hips. Bring the forehead down, let the elbows drop off. Bring in your yogic breath, send the breath to the lower back. See if you can lift it as you breathe in even more, lift it up the spine, towards your third eye. And then just bring in that gratitude practice, so just thinking of one thing you're truly grateful for in your life. It could be something really specific, it might be something in general. Just bring it into the conscious mind. Three more deep breaths. And then bringing yourself up. I was smiling because I try and think of other things to be grateful for, but all I ever think about is my dog Zola. Oh dear. Yeah, okay. Seated position. Bit of a spin on what we did last week. We did it as an isolated move, but we're going to put them together. So knees drop to one side and then centre over to the sides again, just working a little bit with the hips. If it doesn't feel comfortable to drop all the way down, don't need to, just go halfway. Just kind of exploring a little bit there with the hips. Then if you want, we can put in that thread through. So drop the knees and then thread that hand underneath the other arm. So we did that last week, but just all on one side. So still working with kind of the liver, kidneys, getting that kind of squeezing, twisting on the organs. Breathe out as you do your thread through. Drop the chin as well, there's a little bit of work in the neck. Last one. Pick a side then, and then if you want, we're going to go clown, so you could put in your loop bands if you want to, as an option. Just checking the time. Bending in the knees, lift your heels, almost like you're going to fall forwards. I mean, you can even rest, the upper body nearly practically on your front if it helps you to get in that right position. Lift top knee and then lower. Sometimes I put my hand on my hip just to see and feel that, so that's another option. Hand on hip, or you could be totally over in your front. Just check then you've got your core. So find your pelvic floor, find transverse abdominis. You've got a little bit of tension in there. You've got a little bit of tension in the feet as well. I mean, can you touch your ankles as well? It's quite a nice way of trying to set everything up. You're feeling that work in the glute med. I don't think we've done it with bands for a little while, so maybe it feels a bit fresh on the band. Three more. So if you can breathe out into the lift. Try not to look down at the knee if you can, so looking forwards. and release. So out of the band, sorry, it's a bit fiddly, isn't it? Double leg lift, and we're going to put a spin to a diagonal touch. So you needed a bit of space, so come to the front of the edge of your mat. Lifting top leg, lift the bottom leg. See if you can lift the rib cage. First, just find some length with the arm down, because then you've got this shoulder away from your ear. So it's almost just like you're just like this pencil, and you're just really working really long. Then you could take the arm up and over to take a stretch. Then release all that down, totally relax almost, and then engage the core. See if you can reach up towards the ankles or feet. Then lower, and then spin into your lift. And again, just those little moments to set yourself up, and then release, and then touch. Now it's up to you if you want to go a little bit faster, if you want to kind of really work into the kind of the spinning a little bit more. If you get it kind of flowing and you just want to keep working into the flow without the kind of set up moments, you could go with that. Keep an eye on the rib cage though, because that's the challenge with balance. So if you can keep that rib cage lifted, and just make sure you're getting that moment of length in the double leg lift. Last one. I'm falling right off the mat. I don't know if anyone else is. Ended up going forwards. Option here, we're going to do side bend, which is one with the frog jumping in the pond, or a hold. So option 2 is a side plank. So you might like side plank. That's that option. Hold there, or and we're going to do this for 4 breaths or 5 breaths, so that's the count. Or the side bend is where you have the feet interlinked, and then this is a bit more on the shoulder, and you do your extension lift up and over. So if you're on side bend, 4 of them. If you're in side plank, hold, 4 breaths. Hips lifted. I gave the option in there because sometimes side bend's a bit too intense on the shoulders, and it's quite a strong move. It's not for everybody, so I just put those options in. Okay, then we go to the other side then. So to go with clams and the bands, if you put bands in. Just above the knee. Getting in that position that you're nearly going to fall forwards. It's quite nice though putting your hand on your ear just so you can get a little bit of a stretch on the neck as well. Finding the core, so work with the pelvic floor, a little bit of tension in the feet. Can you touch your heels? Heels in line with hips and shoulders. Lift and lowers. I think about 20. That was kind of what I was working with a little bit here. Take your time, work into the tension of the band. Breathe out into the lifts. And you can really kind of push into that bottom leg. So that bottom leg's a really good little stabilizer if you're struggling on balance with this. Use the bottom leg to push in the ground, like grounding through into the mat. 3 more. So releasing out of the band, double leg lift with the spin. So get yourself on the front of the edge of the mat. Lift the top leg, lift the bottom leg, lift your rib cage. Find some length, hand down on the leg to start with, and then find the core. Taking the stretch, Then breathing out, working into your lift. And you do adjust what you do with your hands on that because you're pushing in. And then again, you can go straight in if you've got a little bit of a flow with it. Try and get some nice extension there in the legs. Breathing out into the lengthening. Try not to let the rib cage drop. It's almost like a massage for the glutes, isn't it? 2 more. Then your option then side plank or the side bend. So side plank, elbow underneath your shoulder, lifting up the hips, elbow up towards the ceiling. Option 2, legs straight. If you're up, hold that for 5 breaths. Otherwise, you go 4 of the side bends, interlink the feet. The knee that's pointing up is the foot that goes in front. And then you're lifting up the hips, breathing out into the side bend. Lots of length all through the body there. Last breath. Brilliant. Okay, onto our backs then. So make your way around. Bend the knees, feet on the mat. Relax your shoulders. Arms up to the ceiling. I'm just going to go opposite knee, opposite arm drops down to the side. Think about here the pelvis, that triangle shape of the pelvis, staying really still. So we're just finding some little stretches in and around the pelvis, the hips. We're not allowing the hips to tilt with this. We're not totally opening. That would be a very different move if you're opening there. Then you won't get the stretches inside the pelvis. It's a nice little cross body move as well. So pulling in the core, find the pelvic floor. Holly the transverse abdominis. Down towards the hips. Imprint shoulder blades down to the mat. Get some length at the back of the neck so the chin's not lifting and pointing up to the ceiling. Then just bring the arms down, and actually sometimes it's quite good for this move to place your hands kind of where the pelvis is on that triangle, sort of the idea of the triangle. Then we're going to lift one leg to tabletop and then take the one leg circle. So just try and think about the circling from the hips, so not the foot. So if the foot was circling, it'd be a very different move. So try and keep the lower leg kind of still, so the lever here starts at the hip. Now you could take a straight leg if you can keep the control on the triangle part of that pelvis and keep it really still. Imprint lower back down, not tilting in the hips. Then you could straighten out the leg. And then other way around, just explore the space. Pointing toes is quite nice in here as well if you don't get the foot cramp. Keep imprinting lower back down. That other knee, just take a check it's not spiraling. So try and keep this bare knee really still too. So it's just strengthening all those little muscles there in the pelvis area. And then literally just going to swap legs. So start with the bent knee, the bent knee version, just to get yourself going before you lengthen out your lever. If you've got the lower back kind of circling here, so really go back to focus on the core. And see if you can keep that lower back imprint nice and still. You could lengthen out the leg if you've got that control. Working it, exploring the space. Take a check on that spare knee, it's not circling or moving. Lots of concentration, just check you're not holding your breath. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Last circle. So we'll go to the 100, so 5 sets, 4 toe taps, 8 pulses, and then an 8-second hold. I'll give you some little options to progress if you want to. Shoulders relaxed, imprint lower back down. Maybe find right angles behind the knees just to start us off here as well. Knees and feet hip width apart. Length at the back of the neck. So here we go then. We're going to go 4 toe taps and 3. Try and imprint that lower back down. Use the core. 2 and then 1. Lift head and shoulders. Keep the tummy still. Pulse the arms up and down. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slide the fingertips to kneecaps. Hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. If you want more, then tabletop this. And 4, 3, 2, and 1. Keep imprinting. Pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And reach. Hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Here we go. 4, 3, 2. Keep imprinting. And 1. Ready to pulse. If you want, hover. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you want more on the hold, teasers. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Here we go. 2 sets. 3 and 2 and 1. Ready to pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last time. Toe taps. 4, 3, 2. Keep imprinting. And 1. And pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold last time. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Take a full body stretch. Interlink the fingers. Really reach the kind of fist away from the head. Point the toes. Pull the tummies in. Get your shoulders right up to your ears. Take a really big deep breath in. And then breathing out, just go to a really big starfish. So take up lots of space. See if you can feel the floor. Just going to do an exercise now. It's kind of going to work with the breath and the rib cage in particular. So bending the knees, feet on the mat. I haven't actually done this one before with you. Arms up to the ceiling, and you're just going to go a heel slide on one side, and then the same side's arm is going to stretch out, and you're going to breathe out. And as you breathe out, you're going to try and keep the rib cage nice and still. It's not going to flare or lift. So think about imprinting. So work with the same side again, imprinting lower back down, but also shoulder blades down as well. 4 on each side. Same side, arm, leg lengthening away without the rib cage flaring as you breathe out. Go on to the other side. Same thing as this time as well. Think about really engaging the core muscles on the exhale. Working with the imprint, keeping that rib cage down. Then just go opposite leg, opposite arm into that one as well. And then same thing. So if you can keep the rib cage down, just 4 of these. Try not to let it lift or flare. Breathing out. Engage the core a little bit more on that exhale. So then both arms going over the head, and we're doing the same thing. We're really controlling what's happening here with the rib cage. So try not to let the ribcage lift. Exhale, and as you exhale, just engage pulling the core that tiny little bit more. So it almost might feel like as you're reaching over, someone's kind of pulling here, pulling your arms as you're really working that imprint with the ribcage down. Nice and slow, just to get this length here through the body. But also working with the breath. Okay, let's go back, do a little bit more with core. So we'll go double leg extension, but we'll place the hands behind the back. So send the feet away from the body. If that's too much, you could just go for one leg extension. So you can switch that over. Otherwise, both legs push out towards the ceiling, not directly over the body. So you can take a bit of a diagonal. Then see if you can go up into shoulder stands, support your lower back. Then lower it down nice and slowly. Push the feet out. And then again, lifting up. Chin goes to chest. So if you can exhale into the extensions. Shoulders stands too much, you could just go for a hugging knees into chest as an option. Two more. Lowering down with control. Then arms out to the sides. Going to go for the spine twist. Option here if you want more of a stretch is cross the legs and then just allow that to go over. So there's an option there if you want it. Otherwise, just heavy in the shoulders and allow both knees to drop across to one side. Breathing in center over to the other side. If you're feeling any tightness, you want length, a little bit more than that kind of twist, this sort of tightening on the twist. You could tabletop and then lengthen out the legs, so a little bit more work with hamstrings. Or you could lengthen out as you on the floor. So there's just lots of little options in there. You can always just try one out and just have a little taste of it, see how you feel. So if you like the cross-legged version, think about getting a chest stretch, whichever one you're on. Think about being nice and heavy in the shoulders, the arms, and just allowing that stretch to happen across the chest. You might get a stretch, well obviously it's a spine twist as well, but you might get a stretch in the glutes, especially if you cross the legs on that version. If you've been super active, you might just want to hold the stretch and just breathe with the stretch. We'll go 2 more breaths, whichever way you've put it together. So going to start this next move a little bit lifted up on the elbows. It's like you're sitting on the beach and you're just looking down at the sea and the waves. So we're going to take a corkscrew. So if you just lift the feet off and then just start drawing a little bit of a circle with both of the knees and the feet. If that is too much, and I have put you up in already, you could totally take that down. So if that, sometimes I like to put you on a midways just so you get a feel for where we're going. But you could take that down if this is too much. So you're drawing that circle. So if you want more, and it's going to be more work on the abs, this, straighten out the legs. So if you want more, and it's going to be more work on the abs, this, straighten out the legs. So if you want more, and it's going to be more work on the abs, this, straighten out the legs. So if you want more, and it's going to be more work on the abs, this, straighten out the legs. So if you want more, and it's going to be more work on the abs, this, straighten out the legs. So if you want more, and it's going to be more work on the abs, this, straighten out the legs. So if you want more, and it's going to be more work on the abs, this, straighten out the legs. So if you want more, and it's going to be more work on the abs, this, straighten out the legs. So if you want more, and it's going to be more work on the abs, this, straighten out the legs. So if you want more, and it's going to be more work on the abs, this, straighten out the legs. So if you want more, and it's going to be more work on the abs, this, straighten out the legs. So if you want more, and it's going to be more work on the abs, this, straighten out the legs. So if you want more, and it's going to be more work on the abs, this, straighten And then work your circle with the legs. Just exploring that space. Use the core. Final layer, if you want it. Arms go back and they go straight, and then you work your lift. And then you put in your spirals. A lot more work on the core. Don't forget to breathe. Other way around if you haven't done so yet. 2 more, whichever version you've got. Quite tricky, we haven't done it for a while. Not a new one, but I haven't done it for a while. Okay, gonna hamstring stretch next. So we'll do about 30 seconds. If you want to do with long bands, you could grab your long bands. If you've got loop bands, you could use them. You could use your door frame, furniture. Depending on how you want to stretch. So if you want to PNR, push away at the back of the knee for 5. Work the hamstring. Breathe out. See if you can relax for 5. And would go through that 3 times. Or you just want to maintain what you've got, you just hold your 30-second stretch standard. So just kind of work with where you are, what you need. Check that you're not lifting your bum up here, so you're going heavy all the way down through the spine, all the way to the end of the coccyx. You're not lifting your head and shoulders up to get into the stretch. You might want to flex the foot, gets a little bit more intensity there through the central hamstring. You might want to circle the foot as well as another little option. Think about those long, deep breaths, expanding the rib cage, just taking that pause, checking that you're breathing deeply. Then, before we swap legs, just go to the glute on that side. So place that foot just above the knee. Then either pushing into the knee and the knee pushing into your hand, so that active stretch, or holding and threading the hands through, lifting up the foot. Then you could always put that tilt, if you like the tilt that I've given you before, where you just gently tilt, almost like your foot's going to go down. Take it just like a little way and just explore a little bit more of a stretch. Try not to lift the head off the mat, so try and keep the shoulders relaxed. And then just again, check in on the breath. Then center it, then we'll go to the hamstring on the other side. So again, if your choice whether you used a band or foot up against the wall, or you can just manually hold onto your leg. Again, check that you're heavy all the way down to the end of the spine, you're not lifting. And just breathing into the stretch and pushing away at the back of the knee. Relax the shoulders. I definitely needed to stretch after my massive drive on Saturday. Oh, my legs. So maybe flexing the foot, or if you did the foot circles on the other side. Check you're expanding the rib cage as you breathe in. Then go to that glute stretch again. So place that foot just above the knee. Check you're not hitching the hip up here as well, so your hips are square. So keep an eye on that. And then maybe if you're linking through, lifting up, maybe you like the tilt and you put a bit of a tilt in there across. 4 deep breaths. Bring it back into centre then. Just get into a position so knees, feet hip width apart. You can touch your heels, so maybe walk your feet a bit closer. Take a couple of pelvic tilts. Treat it like a massage for the lower back. Then if you want more, lifting up the hips, arms up and over, chin goes to chest. If you want more in there, just see if you can take a one leg lift. You can keep the knee bent here, just really focus on the strength there and the glutes, squeezing in the glutes, swap them over. If the leg lifts are too much, you could just take your shoulder bridge back down, nice and slowly. Otherwise, if you can do about 8 of these leg lifts, holding those hips as high as you can, squeezing in the glutes as you swap over. Just checking that you're not holding the breath. Then lowering the shoulder bridge down, nice and slowly, hug knees into chest. Perhaps a rock or a circle. See if you can rock it and bring it back up to seated position. Just checking the time, I think I'm slightly gone over, but I'm just going to do a couple more if that's okay. I'm going to do a roll back. Option here is a seal. So if you don't want to roll back, it's soles of the feet together and just holding, working with your stretch here. And you might want to massage feet as well if you're in that position. If you're going to go with seal, take the hands, wrap them underneath so you can hold onto the feet. Lifting up the feet, clap them together, 1, 2, 3. Rock it back with control, 1, 2, 3, over the head. Come back to your hover position, use your core. Again, it's like massage for the spine. Quite a good release for the neck and the top of the spine as well. Last one if you're rolling back, or last breath. Straightening the feet then. Staff pose, so flex the feet so you find your hamstrings. Find a really straight back. If you struggle to get into that position, you can always sit on a block or a cushion there. So that's an option in there. So what we're going to do is back plank. So we're going to lift up the hips. So it's a bit of glutes hamstring work. And then you're going to lower it down. Breathing in, lift the arms up and try and get that right position. Breathing out, reach it forwards. Now, option here to kind of grab, and if you want, you can get your toes. And then breathing in, send the chest forwards, send the tummy forwards to find an upright position, and then breathing out, you can relax. So it's back planks. Got that space on the front body. Breathing in to lift, and that's hard. And then reach it forwards. Next breath. Send the rib cage forwards. Breathing in. Then you can release. Then it's again back plank. Then into that lift, flex the feet. And then forwards. Breathe in. And breathe out. Last time. Back plank. Breathing in. Reaching up. Breathing out forwards. Breathing in that position. And then breathing out, release. Nice. Facing this way then. Palms at heart center. Breathe in, get tall. Blocks if you've got them. You want to get the upright. Breathing out, twist. For just 4 of these to finish. Crown of head shining to ceiling, shoulders relaxed. Pressing palms together. Hands at heart center. Namaste.